The Toronto Regional Real Estate Board has put out its Market Watch data for July 2023. And the big thing that jumps out at me is these inventory numbers. They keep on climbing. So I have put together 8 charts to share with you in this video. Please stick with me as we get into them. How's it going, everybody? It's me, Rob Marsiglio. I'm a sales representative with Keller Williams Referred Urban Realty out here in Durham region, serving the great people of this area and doing my best to bring you weekly content on this channel covering all things GTA real estate. And as I said off the top, today we're going to dive into the July 2023 Market Watch data, really with an emphasis on what is happening with active listings. As promised, there are 8 charts to get into, starting off with active listings, jumping into what is happening with sales numbers, then even a little bit about average sale prices. First things first, our active listings numbers. So I'm going to present these to you in a few different ways. And first off is just a big line graph going back to January 2014. And all of these numbers are the Julys from each year. You can see July 2023, we had just over 15,000 active listings at the end of the month. That actually ranked 6th in the last 10 years. At face value, looking at that, ranking 6th out of the 10 past Julys, pretty average for active listing numbers. But when you dive into them from this perspective, you can see how active listings flow throughout the year, usually peaking in May and June, falling off into July. This year, supply was anemic really all the way up through, May we didn't peak, June we didn't peak. We're actually still growing in terms of active listings into July, something that we really don't see very often. And chart number 3 shows you just how infrequently this happens. So now we are going all the way back to 2008. This red line here is 0% change. So anything below the line means we had a bit of a contraction in active inventory. You can see that every single year with the exception of 2020, from June into July, the actual number of active listings drops off, as well as, the percent change, obviously. But now what we can see this year, 2023, it's actually the biggest amount of growth we've seen, both in terms of actual change. So we're up 1,264 listings from June into July, and percent change, that represents just shy of a 9% change. So, you're talking almost 2% higher than the previous high, which was 2020, which was the only other time going back to 2008 that we saw growth from June to July. So that should paint a picture as to what is happening with our active listings right now. Why are active listings building up? Well, sales numbers are down. Listing numbers are also down in terms of new listings, but not down by quite as much. So that's when you're starting to see a bit of a buildup. Why are listings sitting around? Affordability conditions like we've talked about. Sellers' expectations not being realistic sometimes. All those same players. Active inventory is our supply side in the equation. When you talk about the demand side, we're looking at the number of sales. So this is going to focus on how sales change from one month to the next, from June to July, again, going back to 2008. You can see it's not strange to have a fall off in the number of sales. Again, the only time we've ever seen a big spike going back to 08 was 2020. Again, late start to the market that year. This year, what we've seen is, about a 2,200 sale drop off from June to July. That's the third largest drop off in sales going back to 2008, but it is the biggest in terms of percent change going back to 2008. So it's about a 30% drop in sales from June to July. To put that in perspective, again, like we did prior, here's our average monthly sales throughout the year, and our median is the purple line. It's this blue faint line. Is how we're trending this year. So you can see we did peak in May like we normally would in terms of sales. The next bounce back will be September, October if we are following seasonality, but the kind of descent, the fall off in sales has been a little more rapid than we're used to seeing. And again, we are about, call it about 3,000 sales short of where we would be in a quote unquote normal year going back to 2008. And the super low volume is important for a couple of reasons. First off, when active inventory stays high and is climbing, sales drop off, our month of inventory is obviously going to go up. We'll get into that in 2 seconds. But the other thing with a low volume market is reading into price changes. A slight difference in spread of homes sold is really going to affect those home sale prices. So when you have low sales volume, it makes it pretty tough to analyze what is actually happening with prices. It wouldn't be a Robert Marsiglio video without touching on months of inventory and what's going on here. So again, orange line trend for the year so far. Our months of inventory dropped off in May. We're used to seeing that happen in around March. March is usually when the market gets the tightest, and then it starts to kind of quote unquote loosen up for the rest of the year. Again, we saw things tighten up right until May, and then completely out of seasonality, we've shot up multiple months in a row. So from May to June and June to July, we have seen months of inventory really spike, really coinciding quite nicely or not so nicely with the Bank of Canada continuing their rate hiking cycle. Just in case you've lost track, we are jumping into chart number 7 here, so almost to the end of the charts of the video. Another look just to put into kind of historical context how inventory has changed from this June to July compared to what we're used to seeing going back to 2008. And, you know, we've already touched on how sales drop off from June to July normally. We've touched on how active inventory usually will drop off from June to July. So it's not too big of a surprise to see that months of inventory is going to grow as you get into the summer. You know, maybe some dwindling supply out there, a little less demand, people enjoying the time off. But the change that we've seen this year, both in terms of percent change, over 55% increase in months of inventory, actual change, it's a whole nother month of inventory that's been added on in just 1 month's time too. So pretty significant numbers compared to our previous highs, which was 2017, both for percentage and actual change. Now, the reason that I focus so much on months of inventory, not just the number itself, but why are things changing, is because of chart number 8. Here it is. This looks at the month-to-month change in months of inventory. That's the black line. So again, anything below the line is inventory getting tighter. Anything above the line is inventory kind of loosening up. And it also compares the red bars, which are month-to-month percent change in average sale prices. When we have a massive jump and then maybe a sustained growth in months of inventory for some time, prices fall. Saw the same thing happen in April of 2020, massive spike, big drop off in prices, kind of the biggest month-over-month drop we've seen going back to the beginning of 2017. Again, April 2022, this is a Bank of Canada rate hiking cycle correlated with this kind of drop off in prices that we did see. And now to this year, 2023, we've seen 2 consecutive months of 45% plus month-over-month growth in months of inventory. And now we're starting to see it on the price side. So last month, the drop off in prices from month to month wasn't as big, but now July 2023, we've seen a 5.4% drop off in that average sale price. And that represents the 6th largest drop in prices in 1 month going back to the beginning of 2017. Now, again, I can't hammer this point home hard enough. Just because I say average sale prices are down 5.4% from 1 month to the next does not mean that 123 Main Street is worth 5.4% less this month than it was last month. That's all I got time for this week. I hope you found the 8 charts interesting, useful, valuable. If you found some value in them, make sure to hop over to Twitter, follow me over there. I'll update charts like this and more on almost a daily basis on that platform. So you get to see me weekly over here, daily over on Twitter. Again, I'm open to suggestions for things that you want to see in future videos, in charts, any data that I can try and pull together to make your home buying, home selling, home market monitoring journey easier for you. Once again, thanks so much for sticking with me to the end. Until we speak again next time, stay safe. And cheers. Hey there, I really appreciate you watching this video all the way to the end. If you enjoyed it, I've got another video for you right here on the screen. And, while you're here, maybe just click on my face, subscribe to. I don't want you to miss anything going forward.